You're listening to Community Voice PHL, an award-winning talk show that informs, engages, and inspires. Hey, good evening, and once again, thanks for tuning in to Community Voice PHL Talk Show. Community Voice is a talk show that highlights the value-based programs and services that people are doing all across the nation and right here in the tri-state area. We'll feature amazing stories about engaging people doing inspiring things to help build caring and prosperous communities. So once again, thanks for listening to Community Voice PHL Talk Show, a show that informs, engages, and inspires. So many of us right now in the Philadelphia tri-state area, we're digging out from, I wouldn't quite call it a snowstorm, but I guess it was the first significant snow that we had of the year. And hey, look, even though I'm not really a winter guy, and the spring and the fall, summer, more my weather seasons, but I really appreciate that first snowfall. When you see the beautiful scenes of the snow on the ground, and the first fall, it's really a beautiful, beautiful scene. It's almost refreshing for me. It's almost refreshing in some kind of way to see that. So hopefully those of you who are able to experience that thought and felt the same way. But I just wanted to put that out there because that was the first significant one for the year, and that kind of signifies this season of the year, the holiday season. And I'm excited to be back on the air one more time with this end of year holiday season episode before we make that transition into the new year. We're going to go on a little bit of a 2-week vacation break, hiatus, whatever you want to call it, and then start the new year off before our Start Smart series, where we'll have experts come on the show to get you acclimated to how you can get your new year off to a smart start. So excited about that, excited about wrapping up this year for all the great guests that we've had throughout the year, all the wonderful people that we've had coming on sharing some amazing information. So really excited about that. And, I'm excited about the guests we're going to have on the show today. So this is someone who I met at a book signing event, and, really, really was inspired by the work that they were doing and understanding how they were making a difference. And so we had connected, and, it took a while because when you have someone who's doing such great work and well established, their schedule, sometimes is a bit challenging to nail them down and get them on the show. But I was excited to have this person on the show, and I'll give an intro about who that is a little bit later. But again, just wanted to acknowledge the fact that I have an amazing guest one more time on the show. And also, if you're listening, please tune in. WPPMLP Philadelphia is the station that we land on. Subscribe to our YouTube channel, which is Community Voice PHL Talk Show, and our Apple Podcast, which is the same, Community Voice PHL Talk Show as well. And as you scroll through and check out some of our episodes and listen to them, if you have any feedback about those episodes or have any insights about what's happening in your community, or maybe you're someone who want to be featured as a guest, send us an email to communityvoicephl@gmail.com, and we'll coordinate and get you on the show to highlight the great work that you're doing in the community as well. We know throughout this time of year, there's going to be a lot of amazing things that are happening. People are going to be doing a lot of great community outreach and things of that nature. We want to, definitely send you that information. So when you email us, we'll be able to connect you with that. And I don't want to go through a list of all of them now, because for sure I might miss one or two, and I don't want to miss any. But in our local communities, we know that there's families and children that may be in need, and individuals who may be in need. So throughout this time of year, let's bring some holiday joy, some cheer. Think about an opportunity where you can reach out to some faith-based institution, some local organization, that where you can really either volunteer your time and make a donation, or give a gift, or just help out in any way that you can. Not just because, of course, the government came from being shut down. We have to think about that. And not just, again, because it's this time of year where there's holiday joy. But let's always have in our mind, our hearts, ways that we can give back, ways that we can make a difference, ways that we can just naturally, altruistically do the good for those who may be not as fortunate or may have been challenged by certain situations and circumstances in their life. Again, not just throughout this year. Let's do it every day. Let's do it every day. Let's make that difference. I know that we have an event coming up tomorrow, as a matter of fact, that New Vision, New Voice Happy Holiday Comedy Showcase, where we're going to be giving away gifts and toys to the children and families. Happen at 6380 Germantown Avenue, Our House Culture Center. Starts at 7 p.m. If you're able to make it out, that'll be a wonderful show of support as we give back gifts and toys to the community to bring happiness to the holiday season for them. But again, just be mindful with every organization, institution that you can make a difference at. Please be mindful to do so and do that because, again, we want this to be a happy holiday season. We want this city to be filled with new vision, new voice, new understanding of how we can make a difference. So let's continue to do that all the time. So again, as we begin to wrap up this year-end episode of Community Voice, I have a particular guest that I think is really going to land us well as we round out this year with awesome guests. And JoiFull is a mother, poet, author, and mother's resilience clarity coach who helps exhausted mothers regulate their emotions, release guilt, reconnect with themselves, and create a motherhood experience they don't need a break from. Through her signature programs and her work, Ruffled Feathers Poetry Reflective Journal, JoiFull is JoiFull is shifting the culture of motherhood from silent struggle to empowered healing, providing that a mother when she rises and proving that when she does, the whole community rises with her. So I'm excited to have on Community Voice PHL Talk Show as the guest that wrap up this year, JoiFull. Joyful, thanks for being on Community Voice PHL Talk Show.
Yes, yes. Thanks for having me. It's been a time. We've been
Eh,
trying to get together since the last time we met
yeah, yeah, it was at that book signing Levon Howard had, and you read an
at
excerpt.
the Authors Cafe. Yes.
Yeah, yeah, and you were really inspiring. Me and my wife, we appreciated the work that you were doing, and it was just definitely great to hear. The poetry that you dropped down. Now, I don't know if you're prepared to do that on the show or not, but
Always.
that was a beautiful, beautiful, beautiful piece. But listen, before we get into that, I know I read just a small snippet of your work and what you do, but give our viewers and listeners a little bit more about who you are and what you do before we get into our conversation here.
So I am a mother's clarity resilience coach, and I believe that all mothers are resilient, and that is one of our superpowers. Just being a woman is a superpower in itself, but to have them some background and some clarity, especially for the Black women and being the strong Black woman, the narrative that has been passed down for generations, and that's living and standing on that. I come to disrupt the whole idea of having to be the strong Black woman, having to silently sacrifice, silently struggle. We are going to shed light on all of that, and that is the mission, the legacy, and the movement of what I am doing with my business, V Unfold Corporation. Is Voices Unfold, is Victory Unfolding. It is a whole nother layer to motherhood that many of us have not experienced. And I am making it my due diligence to create an environment and a lifestyle where our children do not have to heal in the ways that we have healed for generations. So this is something miraculous born from my experiences, my motherhood, and un- uncovering the mother wounds and the childhood wounds that I experienced and the trauma that I've been carrying around in my backpack. And many of us have been passing down to our children. So we want to make sure that that does not continue in our community for us to thrive.
Wow, wow, and that's a lot to unpack, Joy. That's a lot to unpack. So the mother's resilience coach. I know sometimes when people hear phrases and titles like that they may not be familiar with what that is. Can you unpack that for our viewers and listeners? Mother's resilient coach. Of course, they may think resilience just getting through challenges and struggles and situations of life. But I'm sure it's a little bit more to it than that. So can you kind of unpack what is a mother's resilience coach and how do you make your difference in that space?
Absolutely. So, a mother's resilience coach is a coach who taps into the deeper resilience that a mother has. So, usually, we're used to seeing resilience in a form of physical struggle and what you can see in the environment. But there's a deeper healing. There's a deeper resilience that I am revealing to many mothers in terms of facing the things that we've buried, that we've hidden from, that we do not want to uncover or talk about. All of those stones have to be unturned. And so in the resilience piece of that, we dig deeper, not to challenge you, but to make you grow, to help a greater transformation come about by being able to tap into some things that have not surfaced. They're there. Like you can see it in your parenting. I know for me, I've seen a lot of things in my parenting show up that I didn't have an explanation for. And I'm like, where is this coming from? What is wrong with me? How do I fix it? But in tapping into the deeper wounds and uncovering a greater level of resiliency, a butterfly just magically appears out of the cocoon. So that is what I do and how I
See,
help mothers.
that's that poetic stuff right there. You said, wow. Nah, but seriously, that's powerful because do you think that, let me just say it like this first. Do you think that a lot of mothers don't understand the resilience that they have themselves because it's just, it's, is it more like a struggle or too normalized and they don't realize it's resilience?
Absolutely. I believe that the normalized resilience that we see in society is not the greater resilience that
Mm,
I am tapping into.
mm,
You can be strong and you can carry a lot of weight and you can take care of the family and you can be the head of the household and you can be the breadwinner and all of those things. But the real resilience is in, and I'm not degrading that in any way, because that is a form of resilience. But in terms of what I do and how I help, we're tapping into the inner resilience that a lot of people are actually afraid to
mm.
tackle. And
Wow.
so that's what makes it so magical, because I believe that if it's, for a long time for me, it was out of sight, out of mind.
Mm,
And if I didn't see it, and if it wasn't brought to my attention, then I didn't harbor on it. I didn't think it was a problem. And
mm,
I believe that many mothers experience a lot of things that we don't or haven't seen as problems, because for generations, the women in our family have operated in a certain way.
mm.
You're not supposed to show how you're really feeling. You don't want to be vulnerable around everybody. It's sometimes it's an issue to be authentic. So you want to just stay out of the way or do what you need to do to get where you have to go.
Right, right. So mothers who don't see it as being resilient, is it more the nurturing part of it? How does this resilience land in that? Is it just nurturing that's strengthened, or is it something else?
Yes, it's nurturing that strengthen. Is also a exposure to a softer part.
Oh wow.
That is the goal and objective, to be able to tap into the more feminine divinity of women. A lot of us have taken on masculine roles, especially as being a single mother or even being the eldest daughter. There's a lot of weight that have been placed on women that is just like, that's what you're supposed to do and that's how you're supposed to live. And I'm here to disrupt that and let you know that it's not, and you don't have to.
So what's the challenge and pushback that you get from some women who feel as though that level of strength that you just mentioned, which um, has to be looked at in a unique way. They say, hey, we that's what we want. That's we want. Do you have any pushback from women who sometimes share a few of their views on that from that perspective?
The most pushback that I've received are typically from elder women who have lived their lives that way and have been accustomed to that lifestyle.
Mm,
It's harder to bring that level of vulnerability and it be viewed as strength, because it has typically been viewed as a weakness to do certain things and to operate a certain way. So I am shedding light on the fact that being soft is a level of strength.
mm.
There is a dynamic in the families where a lot of families are falling apart, either because the women are too masculine or the men are too feminine. So there's a lot of different things that we see that are going on here. And so I I'm here to bring change.
So you mentioned masculine, feminine. It's not really gender specific in that space, though. I mean, because
Mhm.
there's some level of uh, masculine strength that women exude, right? Would you not agree or disagree? Or what's your thoughts on that?
You said it's some, so I believe for me, I didn't realize how masculine I actually was until I actually got a coach. And she would say to me, like, you need to be, tap into your feminine your feminine energy. And I was struggling for a little bit because I'm like, I thought I had it. Like I wear my heels, sometimes I put on my lipstick, I wear my earrings, but it's greater than just the physical appearance. It's like, how are you dealing with yourself first? First, that was the first thing for me. How am I nurturing me? How am I being gentle with myself? That is where the root of it for me grew. And that was something that was put on the back burner growing
Mm,
up. Just focus on what you got to do what you need to do. Don't worry about your feelings, don't worry about being gentle and soft with yourself. Just get everything done.
right, right.
And tapping into that gentleness and compassion, and it was another side of me. um that I started to tap into. I'm like, okay, let me start to be gentle, a lot
Mm,
less yelling, a lot less being frustrated,
mm,
allowing things to, even if they are like a little out of order, allowing things to just flow instead of forcing everything.
mm,
These were all traits that I started to see as I shifted. I started to see the environment in my home shift. I started to see my children get on board and be in flow. I started to see how people started to treat me differently. I'm walking around with this face. We live in Philadelphia, so a lot of women just typically have this face. You don't want nobody to say nothing to you. Like, don't touch me on the bus.
right, right.
So I even went through a whole thing of like working on how I'm relaxed and my facial structure. How is my body? How do I feel? Connecting with nature and being on a different frequency.
Mm, mm. Wow. So all that brings that softness that brings strength is what you're saying, right?
Absolutely, yes.
Yeah. So now connecting with nature, does that necessitate being outside, or is that an inner connection with self and nature? How does that work for your coaching?
For me, it's both. In terms of, you can meditate inside of your home. For me, a lot of people may think it's weird, but I've become a tree hugger. Like I feel connected to the earth and hugging the trees. People might think this is crazy, but if you think about it, the trees were here first. You get what I'm saying? So you're connecting deeper with the earth, and even just talking to them, looking at it, just being in grass. Those all opened up a different level. They call it the concrete jungle where we are, right? And it has disconnected us from who we truly are in essence. It has become very freeing for me.
So you actually hug trees, Joyful?
I do, and my children do too, and they love it. They love it. You should
Oh,
try
that's
it. People might look at you strange, but I'm over worrying about
yeah,
how people make me feel. Like it's something about, our fingerprint is the same shape as the inside of a tree trunk.
yeah.
So it's like, and knowing that, and then making the connection and just being out, allowing myself to be free, to not be caged in what I thought or how I'm supposed to be, has definitely helped me tap more into my authenticity and just setting the structure and rewriting the narrative for my story, for my life.
Yeah, and that's beautiful. And thank you for sharing that. And I titled this show "Strong as a Mother," right? Of course, I did it purposefully because I think that there's a strength in motherhood, strength in women, but it's specific to your work, strength in mothers. Because my mom, Mary, she raised me and my brothers and sisters, and I know that just wasn't easy. She probably sent me emails talking about how hard it was to raise us. But in reference to strong as a mother, talk about the mother strength for maybe a younger mother. Maybe situation led them to be mothers before they were ready. Talk about how you coach and speak to those women in terms of their motherhood and the strength that they had.
Those women in particular are extremely special
Hmm.
because they're at they're at a different place where they didn't get a chance to even tap into their softness.
Hmm.
And so that is why I love to work with those
Hmm.
specific mothers, because you get to grow with the baby. You get to grow with your child. You get
Hmm.
to grow with your first child anyway, any mother. And if you never had children, the moment you had your first child, you're still growing with them. You can be any age, but it still requires a tremendous amount of growth and maturity. Um, so with those mothers in particular, we're able to just talk about how having a child has shaped you and what lessons have you learned, and the lessons that you want to carry and the lessons that you want your daughter to carry. Um, and that also goes back to reflecting as well to their childhood and I find that many women who've had children at a younger age struggle with their self-worth and identity. And so that is another area that I touch on in developing your identity of who you are, what you like, what does it mean to be you, um, and how that affects your child and your parenting. And so we get to see a lot of, and so for me, my mother had my oldest daughter, my oldest daughter, sorry. My mother had my oldest sister at a very young age. And then my sister repeated that cycle. And for me, when I was born, my mother was a lot older. She was about my age when she had her youngest child. And I'm my age now having my oldest child, which is very interesting. So it's a whole different trajectory when you're younger having a child and you're older having a child. Your patience is different. The things that you tolerate are different. If you're set in your ways and you're not, healing, you want the child to adapt and be the way that however you operate. And being a parent, I've learned that there are some adjustments that need to be made in having children, and you don't really notice that until they get older and they develop their own sense of identity and they can say what they feel, or you're observing their behaviors and see certain things.
Mhm.
But to your point, and being a mother and having children before you're ready, there is still a whole lot of hope and gratitude and gratefulness that I give to women. I had my children in my 20s, but even in that I still didn't feel um um I didn't feel certain qualities that a
Mhm.
mother had. So I would say it doesn't really matter about your age, because it's maturity, it is wisdom and experience, and they all are our teachers.
Oh, that's awesome. That's awesome. So when you do your sessions with Mothers Resilience, is it one on one or is it group? How does it work? If a group
So
of
it is a 12-week transformation, and my clients get a complimentary one-on-one with me, but the rest will be in group.
okay.
I love the idea of being in a group setting, because as women we need community,
Mhm.
and just being able to share our experiences is inspiration for the next mother,
Mhm.
and we're also able to get certain gems.
Mhm.
Everybody has their own experience in motherhood. They have their own tips and tools and techniques that work for them.
Right.
I'm just there to be the guide for the clarity. I
Mhm.
believe that we know us more if we just take the time to really identify and sit down and be still with it, with ourselves. A lot of mothers are moving so much. I feel myself to be one of those, just constantly moving, never staying still, to actually connect with myself, with what my body was saying, with what my spirit and intuition was revealing to me.
Mhm. Awesome, awesome. So we're getting ready to wrap up this segment. Time always goes fast when we have awesome guests like yourself on the show. So if there's three tips, three things that you could share with the mothers that are out there, and even the fathers, so that they can be supportive of their significant others and or mothers that they are around, what would those three tips be, if you don't mind? That you give away for free. I don't want you to give away nothing that they got to pay for. The free ones.
Absolutely.
The free ones.
The first thing that I would say, that we can't teach our children anything that we don't know. We only can teach them the things that we do know, and that our children are always observing. So if we want our children to do something different, then we have to do something different, because they're always watching. That'd be the one thing. The next thing that I would say is pay attention to the things that your children are interested in, because it's telling you about who they are, what their
Mm,
gifts are, what their purpose is here on this earth. They're going to show you, but we have to be so in tune and paying attention, and not being so authoritative that we're overshadowing, overseeing what it is that they're here to do,
mm,
because God gave them that gift, not us.
mm,
The third thing I would like to say is the wrap up it, is that many this was explained to me in a certain way, that mothers on earth are the gods of their children. And it may
mm,
sound crazy,
mm,
but think about it. God is the leader. God is the nurturer. God does many, many things.
mm,
And especially in being a single mother, you're the one that the child is looking up to.
mm,
As they say, made in his image as God. If you are the only image of your child, for your child, then you are the image that you're setting for your child, either to be like or to resent.
mm,
So just be mindful of the example that we are setting for our children, and also everything that we put out is a reflection of them. So if it's chaos or if it's disorder in the home, you have to check yourself first,
mm.
because the children just got here. We've been here for a longer time than they have.
Yeah, yeah, that's some good stuff. I like that. That's some solid stuff. You did mention one thing I want to see if we can tease out real quick. Single mothers and mothers who are in relationships. What's the dynamic difference of their resilience? Is there are single mothers exuding a different level of societal resilience as opposed to mothers who are in relationships, or is it just all the same, touching into that softness that you mentioned earlier?
Absolutely. It's a complete difference because single mothers tend to have a more masculine energy and a more masculine outlook and carry whether they want to or not.
Mm-hmm.
Especially if we haven't had the proper examples of how to be mothers to our children, how to positively role model for our children. I do understand that a lot of mothers have done the best that they could, but as the children get older and they start to have their own opinion and they start to see their parents as adults versus just seeing them as their parents, it's a whole different thing. And it's like, well, okay, well, why didn't this happen, or how did this come about? So I do believe that women in relationships, some of them have a different level of support, and I can't speak to all single mothers and all people in relationship because every dynamic is different. But for the single mothers who are exhausted, which is the audience that I help, it is a different level of strength. It is a challenge to even tap into the soft era because you're so focused on getting all of the things done. Everything on the surface level, it requires more attention. The children are always needing you, the bills, the homework, the business. It's a never ending cycle. And so I am introducing to exhausted mothers to pause and to have a space and an outlet where they can grow and tap into the trauma that they're carrying,
Mm-hmm.
and to be able to leave a legacy of healing for their children and their
Amen.
children's children.
Amen. Amen. Listen, Joyful, we're wrapping up this segment, but give our viewers and listeners how they can contact you and get the support that they need. And again, specifically for the mothers, but also again for some of the fathers and brothers out there, men out there who can support. Please give them that information. And if you're able, I think we have a couple minutes if you want to share one of those pieces of poetry, because that's also a skill set you have to offer too. So contact information, and if you feel led, drop us with a poem, and then we can bounce out.
Absolutely. I'm on Instagram and TikTok at Beyond Joyful. That's JoiFull. My email is contact.vunfoldcorp@gmail.com. That's contact.vunfoldcorp@gmail.com. You can also, if you follow me on Instagram, you'll be able to click the link in my bio to access my link tree. The link tree is slash I am Vanessa Allen because my original business was Vanessa Allen Enterprises. Um, so those are the ways that I can be contacted. Definitely do reach out, contact me. Let's connect if you want to collaborate. If you're looking for some support, you are an exhausted mother, do come together so we can get you to where you need to be for you and those babies.
If you feel led, if you can drop one of your pieces. If not,
Absolutely, absolutely. So this is my book, Ruffle Feathers Poetry Reflection Journal, and these are the pieces that will be in there. And here they go. I've been missing out. That's what it feel like. In isolation, isolated from the world, but that ain't real life. See, the positive of it all is the Most High is telling me to keep still. Slow down to hear the message for the blessing. So corrupted is my moment to correct that I'm not perfect. Was never meant to be, but I see my progression. Out of my peripheral, I see the evil lurking, working to keep me from another level, but it ain't working. My ancestors are my protectors. I can be surrounded by 100 enemies and stand there feeling confidently, trusting I'm the prodigy, knowing that the ancestors and the Most High are going to provide for me. See, success has been the goal, failure not an option, a slate clean and empty. That was my thinking. But what if the Most High has success outlined as multiple failures and definitely a fall, scheduled to result in growth? See, when I fall, I shall stand to rebuttal so called defeat. Standing, hovering over the drama beneath, standing, rising above all obstacles, standing without being doubtful that a fall should be a failure because it will. But as I get back up, my testimony shall be that I am still standing because I give myself the freedom to fail. See, when we listen to someone's words more than our own intuition, we felt to listen to the signs given. The answers have already been revealed and we can feel it, but we don't want it to be real, so we ignore it. We take their word forward, and the everlasting pain we are enduring could have been avoided if we focus on our inner peace. See, loving me gives me the strength to be the decipher of confusion and the decipher of deceit. Tampered packages wrapped with holes and missing pieces, known as the primary reason for incompletion. Don't ignore the clues. Listen to what the Most High is telling you. Thank you.
You're welcome. You're welcome. Listen, JoiFull, we got to wrap it up right there. But thank you for being a guest on the show. Thank you for sharing your wisdom and insights. And contact information for JoiFull will be in the link in the bio in the show notes. But again, appreciate you for being on the show. We definitely will have you back again. So thank you, thank you,
Yes, thank you for having me.
You're welcome. So listen, everyone, we're going to be wrapping up right now. We thank you for all your support throughout this year. Hope you have a happy holidays and a prosperous new year. But remember, tune in Community Voice at the beginning of the year. We will have our Start Smart series of experts coming on board, sharing how we can start our year off in a smart way, being prosperous, healthy, and wise. And definitely we're going to have JoiFull come back on and talk about that, mother's resilience again. So appreciate you all. Thank you. Stay happy, stay healthy. Remember, if it's happening in your community, we need to hear your voice. Peace, and we are out.